Hi everybody, how's everyone doing today? Thanks for joining me as always on my Thursday. What day is it? Yeah, it's Thursday live stream. I should just do them every day so I don't have to even think about it, right? God, I don't even know what day it is sometimes. It's just a sign of the times, I guess, or my age. It's terrible, but it's I'm always flattered to see how many people are here already. And I was just skimming the comments during the intro, and yeah, there's a bunch of likes here, and I hadn't even started yet, so that's awesome. That really makes me feel good when I go online and I just check my thumbnails and things, and I see likes on the live streams before I even start. You know, I'm like, all right, so somebody loves me. But it's not about me. I'm always here to answer any questions you might have about Olympus cameras or photography in general, you know, editing, composition, whatever it is. I'll do my best. And, you know, and then about photography chit chat, what's kind of going on. I watched a handful of videos since Tuesday. Seems like what is it? The Fujifilm XS10? Yeah, I think that's right. XS10 is out or coming out. I don't know. I can never tell when cameras are just being announced and everybody's just showing off pre-releases or if they're actually in the stores yet, because I'm not really shopping Fujifilm anymore. So, sorry, I'm just skimming the comments right here on my screen. Make sure that I didn't miss any questions. I always want to answer the questions first. Oh, but I did some yard work today. Oh, Lauren, you like the wood panel? I like this too. It's very earthy, right? But the real reason I like this a little better than, say, my other backdrops that I use is it's the same color as like this wood here, and I get a lot of green screen bleed all in this area. But if I have this brown as my green screen, then it blends right in with the rest of it, so it looks like a little smoother. It looks more realistic, right? Because I can show you. Let me see. Is it this button? No. This one. If I change it back to green, it's, see, like down in this corner, it gets a little bit grainy, and then a little bit over in here is a little green, and this is. I improved the lighting a little bit, so it's not quite as bad, but I much prefer this, right? Where everything kind of blends in a little better. So let's see who's here. We have John. Oh man, I'm already cottonmouth and I just started. Hold on. It's a bit dark around the edges. Yeah, that's the that is the backdrop. It's a little bit vignetted in the corners. The original backdrop. I did not see Thomas Heaton's video on Luminar. I can only take a little bit of Thomas Heaton, you know, each month, because he, you know, it drives me nuts that he drives, I don't know, hours and hours, and then he hikes for hours and hours at all odds, you know, all different hours of the night to get there early to take one picture, right? And I'm like, oh, I just can't do it, you know? Because I think about myself. If I did all that hiking and driving, man, I would be taking hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures if I could. But you know, he sells his prints and he does things. He only needs to take one good picture, right? Whereas, you know, I'm more the enthusiast, right? I go out to enjoy photography and take pictures but yeah, Thomas Heaton has an awesome channel. I mean, the one thing about his is you can normally watch the whole 15-20 minutes straight uh, and not get bored, right? Because it's really, he does a really excellent job. The other thing that bothers me about, like, and it's not just Thomas Heaton, it's a lot of vloggers on YouTube when I'm watching them, because I know what it takes to make them, right? Or I have some, you know, idea anyway. And you know, you'll see the B-roll of them climbing fences or coming in from a different direction. And Thomas Heaton in particular, he's usually by himself, right? He is, he had to do that, walk over there, set the camera up, walk back 50 yards, climb a fence or hop a wall or scale a cliff or whatever, so he can get that B-roll, then climb back down, go get his camera, then do it again somewhere else, right? So whenever you watch all these videos, just know that most of these vloggers that are doing it by themselves, they hike that mountain twice just to make that video. I'm not doing that, and I've said that before in my vlogs, right? I'll be hiking around. I just hold the camera out in my hand and I just talk, it says, screw the B-roll. It's not worth hiking a mountain twice for that. So, that's the one little niggle I have with those kinds of vlogs where they go out and they got all this B-roll and you see their feet walking through puddles or you see their car driving down the street. They had to do everything twice to, to create that video, and it's just so inefficient, and I'm all about efficiency, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't be shooting with Olympus or Micro Four Thirds because it's very compact, very powerful, very efficient, right way to shoot photography. So that whole genre of vlogging is hard for me to watch in that aspect, in that respect. But that said, it makes for a lot more interesting video because you can see where he hiked and where he or she, I should say, hiked and went and did things. So anyhow, let's see. Saffron has a question. Question on the G9. You can toggle to turn off the screen, but my 3-week-old EM1 Mark III noticed no way to turn off the screen. Am I missing something? Yeah, just go into the menu. This is the M1 Mark II, but it's the same thing. If I can do my fancy pants thingamajig here. Ah, total fail. Camera 4. Switch. There we go. So, yeah, you just go into the menu and you go into, well, I'm using the M1 Mark III right now, so I can't even show you on that camera. But just go into the EVF menu. I think it's menu I. It's menu I in the M1 Mark III. On the M1 Mark II, it's menu J, but you go into built-in EVF and EVF auto switch, just turn that off. And then you'll be able to toggle the live view and EVF. One of them will turn off. I think that's all you need to do. Right? I think that's all you need to do. Lupita says, hi Rob, I just upgraded to Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II from the Mark I. Do you know if it's normal that my portrait pixelate when I zoom in? If you're recording video and it's pixelating, then you need to use a higher bit rate. Like change the video bit rate from, and they don't call it bit rate, they do normal, fine, super fine, and all I. Super fine is pretty good. Also, when you process the video and export it, you want to use a very high bit rate when you're exporting. Now, if you're talking about it pixelating while you zoom in the EVF or the live view, I have not experienced that personally. So let me switch over. I mean, I have the M1, I'm using the M1 Mark II now. But let me switch over to a zoom lens and see. I mean, a substantial zoom lens, anyway. So if I focus, I zoom in, and honestly, I don't think that's really Even if I zoom in slowly, it seems okay. So, yeah, I, I don't know what you mean exactly. If you can be a little more specific, if you're talking about an EVF or the live view, I haven't experienced it though in the EVF or live view, but during recording, video recording, yes. And that's a matter of the bit rate, not the camera. Oh, hi Marcia, how are you? Let's see who else is here. Serge, I don't like much this kind of vlog. It has too much like acting, not spontaneous stuff. Yeah, it's not spontaneous at all, right? Like I said, all that B-roll has to be planned or done on site and done quickly. And it's, yeah, which is fine. You know, some people want to see that, like more cinematic or more, you know, people just like B-roll. They want to see what's going on from a third-person perspective. But I don't do it because it's not because it's bad. I mean, it's better to do it that way. I just don't do it because it's inefficient to me. And music sound gear. I remember you filming yourself grabbing some food in one of your videos. Yeah, I do that time to time. Uh, One of my favorite vlogs that I ever did was that one where I went to the 50s diner and I got the milkshake and then I went to a bar. I did a lot of different things in that vlog. That was a great vlog. One of my personal favorites. I need to do those again because it was fun making them because I went to go see new places and it's fun to share them with you and edit and just show you what I do, you know, because to me that totally encapsulate everything I love about photography. You know, you go out, see new places, take some pictures and have some fun. You don't have to go out like, you know, Thomas Heaton and every image has to be epic, right? You know, I mean, he makes excellent, amazing images, but you know, that's not my goal anymore. I was looking at my portfolio on Flickr when it says I started in 2009, but there's really no pictures in there till 2012 when I got my Sony NEX. That was kind of my first interchangeable lens camera. And I really spent, and you know, like I said, my goal was originally back in 2012 was just to document my travels with my dog, you know, Riley. So if you look at my Flickr and you go all the way back to like the very first images, you'll see a lot of me and my dog out hiking and camping and going different places. But a lot of my images, I tried so hard to make a lot of the images kind of epic, right? Like I wanted these really dramatic landscapes or dramatic street photos. You know, I tried so hard and they're okay. You know, I'd say they're sort of like mid-level, you know, they're not beginner level type photos, but they're kind of mid-level. And then I did, you know, and then you can see kind of my progress as I go from like landscape type photos where I was trying to get those epic shots to then I got into birding, bird photography, and then just different things. But it was kind of fun to kind of go back and look at those. No one, Tony says no one's a skill, the other is just being idle. Oh, you guys are talking about the B-roll stuff. And David, oh hey David, how are you? I'm gonna be there. David Crooks runs a local photography club. I'm sure many of you know by now because he's always in my chats, but we're gonna go to Great Falls this weekend on Saturday morning. So I'm definitely gonna make that come hell or high water. So I'll have some waterfall shots this weekend. I don't know if we ever came up to a theme. It's a national park with a bunch of waterfalls, and David always tries to set up a theme for every photo walk, right, for the photo club. And he was looking for some ideas, and I was like, how about just waterfalls? I mean, don't overthink it, you know. I don't know, but maybe if you came up with a theme, let me know. I'll go for it. And then Marcia says, I think I'm buying the M13 from Hunt's for $13.49. You won't regret it. The M1 Mark III, it's an awesome camera. I can't say enough good things about it. And at that price, you know, because I paid full pop, right, when I got it. I mean, I saved 6%, so not quite full pop. They paid the sales tax for me on the launch price or whatever, but I ain't saving 20-30%, right? That's like 30% off. That's amazing. And yes, Tony, editing is a skill. Oh, and Lauren is here. Yeah, I got your 2 emails this morning, Lauren, about the Nikon Z50 and the Canon M50 Mark II. Is kind of a joke, I guess. Nobody's really excited about that at all. And then you're still leaning towards the Z50, but you think it's going to be $300 less maybe by Christmas. I looked at them today. They're like $1,000, right? The Z50. It's okay. I mean, I'm not going to buy APS-C anymore. I bought that Fujifilm X-T30 and it just doesn't do anything for me. The music says, I won't buy Luminar, but unsharp mask sharpening dehaze all make people's bad pictures better. Same thing. Take better pictures. Yeah, you know, Manny Salanto had an excellent video recently on Salanto blog, his channel. He titled it, This Is Not Photography. And, you know, essentially he's just a purist, right? When he takes a picture, he minimizes the editing. Like he doesn't brush out little twigs or branches that are in the frame. He doesn't try to correct the noise or bring the shadows up. You know, he likes the photo to be just like it came out of camera. You know, if you, I made a comment on his blog or his video that, yeah, you know, you have people that really, you know, photography is very personal, right? And excuse me, you can either be a purist and take reward and satisfaction out of being a purist and, excuse me, and enjoying the photos that way, or you might like to do a lot of editing after the fact, right? And you get, you know, you know, that's rewarding and you get fulfillment from doing it that way. I mean, either way, you know, there's whatever because you know, and not only editing but also curating your images, right? Like you don't show any images that you don't want people to see, or you edit the images to the point that it only shows what you want them to see. But either way, you know, your images are showing what you want people to see. If you want people to see the pretty much straight out of camera image, or if you want people to see what you've edited and only see the things in the images that, you know, are still there that you've edited out, whether you've edited out and by editing out I mean, you know, dropping shadows or you know, dealing with the tones and colors. Either way, you know, whatever floats your boat, in other words, you know, just enjoy photography. Lupita says, sorry Rob, I was trying to say when I take a picture and I go into edit, I zoom in to remove blemish, etc. Okay. Oh, so you're editing in software, I assume, on your computer. And yes, it will pixelate because the initial image that you see in most editing software will be a rendered image that's a lower resolution. So it's going to look pixelated. So when you punch in, it's just going to immediately zoom in and show you, and you're going to see all the pixels, right? The pixelation. But if you hang on a few minutes, well, not a few, well, maybe a few minutes, but usually if you wait a few seconds, the image will sharpen up or snap in and be nice and clear. But that's normal, yes. Punching in and seeing that pixelation is normal. Yeah, the decisive moment I dropped the camera, Lauren. I've edited out so many times when I dropped the camera in my vlogs. And I did find one. There's a video I made about, I don't know, it's just a short 1 minute video about getting older. And there was a cut in there where I dropped the camera. It's a disaster. A bad picture is a bad picture. That's true. Uh, yeah, I got thousands of bad pictures. Trust me. I took a bunch today, I think. Oh, no battery. But Micro Four Nerds does mooning. I don't know what you're talking about, like taking moonshots? Oh, you want to be off. Seraphim, I understand what you mean, like turn the screen off. Uh, the only other setting that you can play with, let me see if I can, and this may not be anything new to you, but let me see, it's a little different in each camera. I may not be able to get to it since I'm going through HDMI. Oops. Display. So you can set the LCD to stay on for 8 seconds instead of staying on all the time. So it'll turn it off, but it's an 8-second thing. And then you have the sleep mode, which I think I have to unplug this to see because it gets grayed out when it's plugged in. Sorry, let me. Yeah, sleep mode is 1 minute. Auto power off is 5 minutes. Honestly, that's the next best thing. There's quick sleep mode that you can set to 3 seconds. Where is it on this camera? It's got to be in the utility. Yeah, then there's quick sleep mode to be, that'll shut it off in 3 seconds. But yeah, there's no way to just power it off short of flipping the screen closed, you know, in a closed position, face down. And yeah, there's a photo editing today, Juan. Juan, yeah, I'm doing editing after this at 4:30. Maybe I set the time wrong? Let me check. My photo editing stream is today. Today at 4:30. Right? Today's the 15th. Yep. And oh, Thomas. Yeah, the waterfalls. Thomas is saying I did a nice video about HDR to smooth out the waterfalls. That was definitely that was at Great Falls actually, where I'm going this weekend. So I might do that again. I'm just gonna back up and see what else I missed here. Yeah, photography should be fun, rangefinder, definitely. Oh, the challenge is triangles. Okay, David. I'll try. You know, I love triangles. Everything looks better with triangles, right? I mean, if I'm just sitting here like this, no triangles. But if I'm like this, now I got a couple triangles, right? It's like a little better. If I look in this direction, I'm creating another virtual triangle. So yeah, triangles are awesome in photography. Roberto says, you bought Luminar 4 for Mac. It's the only way to see my pictures quickly, but I edit my RAW files with Workspace. I do minor edits in Luminar before sharing on Instagram, but not Skies. Yeah. Yeah, I used to edit the heck out of my images, though, when I started out. Isn't the EM10 Mark IV now just as good unless you need other features? Yeah, image quality wise, you know, all of the Olympuses, I'd argue you could go back to the EM5 Mark I, EM10 Mark I, and those images are just as good as the current models. I mean, like I said, unless you start pushing the camera to its limits, you're not going to see much difference in image quality from cameras made in the last 10 years, honestly. Yeah, the weather's going to be in the 40s. I know. I'm wearing my jacket. Hi, Steve. How are you? And did anyone? I did watch Jimmy's live stream. I kind of came in late, but I watched the last half hour of it. He was hinting at some big news release, but was under NDA. Man, I hope it's the Pen F2 because he was harping on that big time, right? He's like, please come out with the Pen F2. I will buy it. So will I. You know, I'm definitely gonna get a Pen F2 if it ever comes out. And Seraphin says, David, that's the North Pole in Florida. Oh, sorry, that's not me. Yeah, photography is personal, definitely. Because, you know, Elaine, who comes in the chat's pretty regular, you know, she never takes a straight image. They're all like edited, which, you know, that's what she likes, you know, and they're great images that she are great photos in the end. And Randy says the Nikon Z6 II is quite a camera for 2000 except for huge lenses. The Panasonic BG-H1 is an amazing video camera. Yeah, the BG-1, that's definitely for pros though. I watched that thing with, what's his name? Because it piqued my interest right before I saw it. It's like this box. And then it has no screen on it. It's nothing I can use, right? It's fine for pro work, I guess. There's some needs there. But it doesn't do anything for me. And the Z6 II, I mean, the Z6 I was a good camera, you know. It didn't have the dual card slot, which, because the only reason I wouldn't buy that for personal, I would buy it for professional work, right? At this point. And, you know, honestly, almost any camera I buy new, it's going to be for pro work. And I'm going to be focusing on video because I'm adding video to my pro jobs, you know, for my paid work. And I'm pretty happy with the EM1 Mark III using the OM log and then adding a Rec 709 LUT. And the images are, you know, fabulous, you know, good enough for what I get paid to do. But if I want to take it up another level, I may need to get like a Panasonic S5 or, you know, something full frame so I can, it doesn't even really have to be full frame. Honestly, I was looking at a Panasonic GH5S. If I can get a good deal on that, because, you know, being able to record 10-bit 422 will really make a difference, I think. You know, take my videos up another level because that's where I'm struggling a little bit with is some of the dynamic range issues I'm getting. Because internally, the EM1 Mark III, you know, all of the Olympus cameras, they all record 8-bit 420. So I'm lacking, you know, the dynamic range of 10-bit, and the color range of 422. And I think if I take, I might be able to take it up in that, but I might just have to rent one and see if it really makes a difference enough. The way that I edit, I don't know. But anyway, nobody cares about video, right? So I won't talk about that. And then Randy says the A7S III is going to be a low light monster, but at 35, yeah. And the Fuji S10 looks awesome, but and only 1,000, so Olympus has some catching up to do. Well, honestly, I don't think the S10 really competes with the OMD, even the M5 Mark III, in my opinion. I feel like and I say that because, the buffer on it is very small. Yeah, they say 20 frames per second with autofocus, but you get 1 or 2 seconds before it buffers. And, you can go like a minute. Well, I don't know. I don't remember. You can go like at least 10 seconds, though, with the EM5 Mark III. I have a video where I did that burst shot, and I compared the burst rates and when it started to buffer, and I forget which camera it was, but I think it was the EM1 Mark II. It didn't buffer at all, and when I was shooting JPEG only, it just went on for hundreds of shots, right? I can't remember because I'm not like a sports action guy where I need to burst for 10 seconds, but the XS10 does seem to have some decent video features, but you have to record externally to get the 10-bit 422, and the EM1 Mark III does that. It has 422 10-bit out, but and that's why they're coming out with that ProRes RAW update or something in the firmware. But I'm not going to record externally when I'm on site. I'm on a gimbal, and that's just too much gear and more batteries I have to worry about. I mean, I think like a GH5S, since I already have all the lenses, right, that I need to do it, might be my best route because it has better low light capability, has 422 10-bit internal and all that good stuff. So I'm kind of leaning towards that camera actually. But I'm waiting for the Panasonic S5. If a really good deal comes out on that, I might go that route. I mean, I might have to pay about double because I have to get the lens with it. But I've seen the GH5S for about $1,800, and the S5 is $2,300 with the lens. So do I just buy that? Because the lens that comes with it, the 20 to 60, I think, or 20 to whatever it is, it starts at 20 millimeters. That's the focal length I care about. It's good enough for what I need to do. So I could probably get away with the S5 with that kit lens for $2,300. And that would be the end of it. And it would be a single purpose camera, right? I'd only use it really for video. And Roberto's asking, is there any difference between bracketing exposure and HDR when you choose not HDR 1 or 2? Yes, the bracketed HDR 1 and 2 merges them for you and it creates a JPEG. It doesn't create a raw image. So that's the main thing. But when you pick HDR 357, it steps in 2 stops at a time, so you can do plus or minus 4 stops. You can do plus or minus 2 stops with a 3-shot exposure, which is usually enough for most things. But if you need to do more, you can do more, and then you have to blend them in Photoshop or whatever after the fact, whatever software after the fact. But it's definitely, that's the workflow that I do actually in my professional work, because I bracket HDR3 or whatever it is, where it's plus or minus 2 stops and it takes 3 pictures. So I'm 2 stops under, 2 stops over, and 1 right in the middle. And then I blend those in Photoshop and create an HDR image. And then I blend that with a flash shot. It's a whole process, but the difference between HDR and bracketing, because there's also bracketing, but bracketing when you go in the bracketing menu, your steps are smaller, third of a stop, half a stop, like one stop. You can't like bracket 2 stops at a time like you can in HDR mode. But I think the difference also is that when you're bracketing, you can choose whatever ISO you want, whereas in HDR, it sets the ISO to 200 and locks it. Let me just double check. I got no battery. I think the EM10 will do it, or EM5 here. Let me just double check this. If it lets me get into the HDR menu. So, whoops, shooting menu. Yeah, crap. It's all grayed out when I'm plugged in. So let me just eyeball it. So if I set that, I'm in HDR mode. Okay, it doesn't do it even there. So yeah, so HDR 1 and 2 lock the ISO at ISO 200, but the HDR, the other ones, 2, 3, or 4, 5, whatever, you know, the other one, not 1 and 2, but all the other ones, they do let you run or set the ISO to whatever you want. But you get much bigger steps, 2 stops at a time, versus bracketing only lets you bracket like, you know, third of a stop or one, at most one stop at a time. And that's the main difference. Good morning, Des. Oh my goodness, I'm way behind here on the chat. Oh, okay, I got you, Corna. And Lawrence says, I've taken photos that I know have potential once enhanced, then did so. So why not? Oh, certainly. Yeah, if you know the limits of your camera, I do that all the time. You know, I'll underexpose certain parts of the image that I plan to recover. And that's, you know, like when you expose to the right or expose to the left, that technique, you're exposing that way with the intent to edit it later, you know, because you're trying to stay within the limits of your camera, but you know, in post-processing, you can bring the highlights back or the shadows back, whatever. So that's, yeah, that's very common technique, or common practice, I should say, is to shoot with the plan to edit later. Specifically, you know, you shot it at that specific exposure with the intent to recover or to recover things, right? Hope your pic made it today. I think I saw it. I skimmed them. I think you sent a, it was the Blue Angels or something, right? I think I saw that, Randy. And yeah, you're gonna go camping. That's awesome. I need to do some camping. You stick blue tack over the sensor, would it keep the screen off? I don't know. Oh my goodness, Rick is here. Yesterday's eye surgery went well. It'll be about a month before we know for sure, but already's awesome, Rick. That's good to hear. I'm glad to see you back. Everybody, Rick Bear is here. He was he's been kind of out of it the last couple months with multiple surgeries. I mean, he's fine apparently, but oh, everybody knows. I'm all behind here. There's like 1,000 thumbs ups here. Johannes made HDR pictures at night with street light only handheld. The result is fantastic. Yes, absolutely. You can do HDR. Another thing I do sometimes is handheld high-res shot mode at night. That also cleans up the images really nice for noise. But HDR obviously will really, you know, expose the shot a little more evenly. But handheld high-res shot mode at night is awesome too. um, yeah, I don't think I need a full frame camera for video. I think the GH5S might do it. But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait because OM log 400 with the Rec 709 is doing just fine. But there's, sorry, and I still need to practice just even with that camera. Yeah, I'm not sure about the G9. I think internally it's still doing 8-bit 420 though, but I'm not sure. I thought about the G9. I looked at it and for some reason I ruled it out video-wise. I can't remember what it was. And I know there was a firmware update that kind of added a lot of new video features. But I was thinking between the G9 and a GH5, I'd rather have a GH5 because we know that's video-centric. And between the GH5 and GH5S, I think I'd go GH5S because that has the fewer pixels, right? So I get deeper pixels, basically, a bigger pixel pitch for better low light performance and all that. And I think, but I have to look into it more. I have to dig in more. We'll see. I know the S5 does a lot. I gotta check. It's gotta be 422 10-bit internal. That's the main thing with a log, some kind of log, you know, profile. I don't care which ones, you know, it is, but and Jose Alberto Martin Ortega. Golly, that's an awesome name. I would love to have a long name, you know, but I bought this week with the Panny 12 to 32 used, almost like new, and very surprised about its IQ. Almost identical to the Pana 12 or Ollie. Yes, the Panasonic 12 to 32 is an excellent, excellent lens. It's definitely sharper than the kit lens from Olympus, smaller and lighter, and it's wider. Doesn't have quite the reach, but it's wider. And definitely sharper. And I can tell you that because I did test it for sharpness. I took high-res shot mode, or I took high-res shots using the kit lens, both kit lenses, the 12 to 32 and the 14 to 42. And the 12 to 32 definitely was sharper in high-res mode. And you know, high-res mode is going to stress the lens, so to speak, right? Try to eke out every pixel we can. And I could tell you, 12 to 32 is definitely, I noticed it right away, but it was more of a gut feeling. So when I tested it, I said, yeah, it's definitely sharper. So yeah, you're not imagining it. It's very, very good, very sharp lens. And Lauren says, holding the camera for video, wouldn't weight be most important to you, thus no full frame? No, because I'll be on a gimbal, and my gimbal will support up to 4 pounds. So yeah, it's not an issue. And I'm not holding the gimbal. You know, I have the gimbal on a monopod or on a tripod, and then I just tilt the gimbal on the monopod or tripod. So I'm never carrying that GD thing around. It's because the very first time I got that gimbal, yeah, even with an EM10 Mark II, I'm walking around with this gimbal. My arms got tired. So I spent $100 and I got the dual arm grip for it. My arm still got tired. And I said, screw it. So it just sat in the closet for almost 4 years. And then I took it out and I said, you know, I'm just going to put this on a tripod. Screw it. I'm not carrying it around. And it works fine. So yeah, it doesn't the camera weight is not as big a deal in that scenario. If I was walking around with the gimbal all the time, yeah, I would buy a smaller gimbal first of all, because a 4-pound capacity gimbal is too big for Micro Four Thirds. And then, because I got like this $200 gimbal that's a lot smaller and lighter. Anyway, I bought a DJI Osmo Pocket. That's what I did. if I want to gimbal vlog. I tried to use it for my professional work, and it worked fine for a couple of jobs, but I noticed it was definitely not handling the low light too well. I was getting a lot of grain. And by a lot, I mean too much to be paid for, right? So I switched over to my M1 Mark III for my video work, and yeah, that eliminated most of my grain problems. But I'm running into problems with the dynamic range of the scene, right? Because, you got really bright, strong sunlight coming into the windows, and then the inside is very dark, relatively speaking. So I have to blow out the windows to expose the scene so I don't get too much grain in the shadows, because I can't pull shadows at all with 8-bit video. As soon as you start pulling the shadows with 8-bit video, you start getting grain. So I can't, and if it was like for artsy fartsy stuff, fine, I'll just crush the shadows down to black and I'll expose that way on purpose and make it and work with it, because I know, and that's what I do with my low light photography when I do street shooting is, I know I'm going to be shooting at ISO 10,000 or whatever, so I look for a scene and I expose the scene in a way that, the negative space, the black space is all crushed. So you don't see the noise and you only see the light, right? But in video, I don't have that option, right? Or for professional work, I have to be very, it has to be clean, the scene. And I want to be able to pull the highlights in the video a little more than I can now. And I think moving to a 10-bit video will do that for me. So that's the main reason I'm looking at maybe another camera. And if I'm going to get another camera, I have an option, right? Either a GH5S or maybe the S5. And between those two cameras, I know the S5 is going to be better at low light and pushing and pulling. Well, if they're both 10-bit, it's going to be about the same, pushing and pulling shadows. But I'm going to have less noise with the S5 when the light when I run into those situations. So it's a tough call. I don't know. I'm not in any hurry because, like I said, I'm getting by fine with my EM1 Mark III. But if I really want to take it up another notch, I have another agent that she's using. I do real estate photography. In case you guys aren't following along what the heck I'm talking about. I have another agent. She does really high-end I mean, in this area, when you say $1 million property, it's not really high-end in this area where I live. Not my immediate neighborhood. I live in the ghetto. But if you just go like into Northern Virginia, $1 million home, the median price in Northern Virginia is like $770,000, right? Median price of a home in Virginia. And that includes condos and everything else. I mean, that's, if you want to narrow it down to single family homes, yeah, it goes up even higher. Like I just did a property, it was 1.4 million, and it was a freaking shoebox, and I'm like, you're nuts if you pay 1.4 million for this place. I'm not gonna say what the address is because, but yeah, Alexandria is expensive, and Northern Virginia is expensive. But she does $1 million plus homes, 3,000, 4,000 square feet and up, right? Right around 4,000 square feet is like $1 million here. And then it goes up from there. And I'd like to get her business more. I'm just not getting it. She's using a photographer now that is really good. But I don't think I'll ever get her business, to be honest. I mean, when I look at the images, let's say 10 is like perfectly done. This guy's like a 9. And if I'm on that same scale, I'd say I'm like a 7.5 on average. Maybe 8, 8.5 on some properties, and then 7, 7.5 on other properties. I still struggle a little bit, professionally speaking, getting the images exactly right. But this guy is consistently a 9 on average out of 10. But he's not a video guy, Somebody else does the video. And the video work I've seen done on her properties are not great. They're very good. I'd say like a 7 or 8. which is, I'd say I'm closer to a 7 than I am to 8, and the videos I've seen on them are about an 8. But I think I could be closer to an 8 or 9 if I can get some more dynamic range in my shots, you know, and build up my technique and all of that, of course. But yeah, John. Thanks, John. Yeah, my videos are okay. You know, the stuff I post on YouTube and like I'm streaming now, this is just all 420 8-bit crappy lighting, you know. I mean, I worked hard to, you know, I'm just using these two lights. Heck, I can even show you. Well, not with this lens, but this is how I do all my YouTube videos indoors now. This 12mm needs to be greased or something. Every time I put my 12mm lens on, it's like grinds. I don't like it. Let's see. I switch. Oh, camera 3. Sorry, my bad. Here. No? Oh, dummy. I gotta put the HDMI cable in. All right. All right. Line 4. Still nothing. There we go. So, I love my mug here, but let me fix the so yeah, there's the M1 Mark II. That's my junk closet. Over here I have the M5 Mark III, which is pointing down to my desk. And then I just have this one umbrella light and then the one light up here. And that's it. My whole studio. And this stupid foam does nothing. I tacked in like 100 nails into my wall to hold up all this sound reduction foam, and that was a mistake. One day I'm gonna take all that crap down, but anyhow. And Rick Barris says, robtrek is so far behind on the live chat, but he doesn't realize we've already moved on to picture editing. I know, everybody wants to do the picture editing now, right? Lauren says, the Canon M50 Mark II got whacked by the Canon cripple hammer, getting no physical changes. For stills only, I'm thinking it is okay around $4.99, but not, yeah. Now the M6 II with EVF for $7.99. You know, the Amazon Prime Day, they had, I was going to email you, Lauren, but I was like, but the M6 Mark II with one of the lenses was like $7.99 on Prime. It was like $300 off. I don't know, did you see that deal on Amazon Prime? I tried to buy another Godox 8200 and I waited too long. As soon as I was looking at it and I put it into my cart, or I was looking at it and I had the page up, and then I went looking for other stuff. And then when I came back to add it to my cart, the deal was already over. I was like, crap. You know, they had 60 bucks off on an 8200. I was so mad. Ugh. I mean, I could pay 300 for it, but you know, I could have got it for 239. Now I'm a little, you know, I'm a little stressed out over that. Yeah, gimbals on the hand-holding gimbals is tough. Randy says, so with high res, we get less noise. Yes, high res shot will give you less noise, right? Because it's stacking the images together. So if it stacks, 16 images together, you could shoot at like ISO 3200 and get like an ISO 200 shot in terms of noise. I mean, that might be exaggerating a bit, but definitely there's a lot less noise when you use high-res shot mode in low light. Yeah, my cupboard is overflowing. I have so many bags. I was going through it yesterday looking for something, and I says, why do I have like 8 umbrellas, I don't do portrait work, but I got like 8 umbrellas. Because I buy these kits because I need the light stands for different things, but I don't necessarily need the umbrella. And sometimes it's just cheaper to buy like a whole kit, and they just throw umbrellas in for free. So I got all these umbrellas and light stands I don't use anymore. So I gotta do an inventory before I buy anything else because I probably already have it. Yeah. I can put the DJI Pocket Osmo on Ellie on the back. I got like a little harness that holds a camera. I haven't done it yet, but I was thinking about doing that. I did buy the harness. It would work on a goat just as much, right? Just as well. And Nature says, I think there is a new video software with Olympus where video exposure, etc. can be adjusted in post-production. It's possible, Nature. I haven't seen it. If there is software from Olympus to do that, but I did get the Olympus LUT for Rec 709 to work with the OM400 log, and that's as good as it's going to get. Because I use DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos, and that's I can push and pull shadows and highlights and everything. But when you're working with 8-bit, it's like a JPEG, It's very limited. Correcting white balance, everything is limited when you're in 8-bit. And that's my biggest challenge. The wife is in Ecuador for 3 weeks visiting her parents, so probably going to do a road trip to some, oh, nice. Yeah, Seraphin, take lots of pictures, man. Let's see them. And what's an umbrella? No, not rain umbrellas, like frickin' light umbrellas. I seriously don't know why I have so many. I don't understand how I got so many umbrellas. There's 1, 2 right there in front of me, and I know there's a case there has 2 more. And then on that side, there's at least 2 or 3 more white ones, clear shoot-through types. And then I'm using one here, and I got one downstairs where I broke the stem. You ever just like get mad at yourself for buying stuff? I'm so mad at myself for buying all those freaking umbrellas. And now I got like 7 or 8 light stands. I don't understand why I have so many. I'm very confused now. I got this giant one over here. I don't know why I bought that thing. It's really heavy duty, And I only need like, I need like 3 light stands. That's it. I need one here. I need one when I go out on my photo shoots. I rarely use them when I go out, but when I go on my photo jobs, I take one with me just in case. I need to do multiple flash shots, so I'll set one flash up on a stand somewhere. But I can usually get away with one flash. At least the last 3 or 4 jobs, I've just used one flash and one lens. And I think your local photo store and the major online stores will have many great deals come Black Friday. Buy from them only when need be. Yeah, that makes sense, Lauren. I mean, I like the video, the Amazon Prime Video. Getting all the Prime benefits is kind of side thing for me. I watch it for the videos. I watch too much TV. You ever watch TV and the show is telling you that TV will rot your brain? I don't get that. I'll be watching something, you know, and they're saying, don't watch TV, it'll rot your brain. And I'm like, I'm watching TV. I don't, anyhow, the irony in life, right? I'm reflecting on my umbrella. I'm seeing the light. I'm a lifetimer, I don't even notice it. You need a sexy model under the umbrella, waiting to see. I know. Ah, sexy models. Sounds like trouble, though. Yeah, John Yutze, how are you? I posted, I think it's you. At least you have the same last name, but you're using a different first name, maybe. But I got your email about from last time's chat about showing files, showing your raw files in Windows Explorer, right? Because a lot of people, and like me forever up until yesterday, when I looked at my raw files in Olympus in Windows Explorer, all I got was like the thumbnail. I didn't actually see a little thumbnail picture. I just got this icon, right? And so I downloaded, you know, I followed the links in the email, and then I posted that email in my forum. So hopefully you saw that. One Life says, what do you think about the new Fuji S10? Oops, it jumped on me. Oh, it didn't jump on you. You just retracted it. It's okay. I didn't see the whole question, but it looks like a fine camera. I haven't seen all the specs on it, but I have a Fujifilm X-T30, which is I don't know what. I don't know. Maybe, you know, the S10, I like the controls. They're more traditional, at least not so Fuji-like. And I think people are complaining that Fuji purists will not like the new dials on the S10. And you know, if you look at an X-T4, you got what? The exposure comp dial on top, you got the ISO dial on another side, and then you got shutter speed. So those are the three dials on the top of the camera. And if you shoot aperture priority, those, you know, two of those dials are just dead. You know, you just put them on A. And so that's just wasted real estate on the top of the camera. That's my problem with the Fuji ergonomics. Now, if you like to shoot manual all the time, that's awesome, right? You want those dials are awesome, but I'm an aperture priority kind of guy, right? Or shutter priority sometimes. And so the workflow doesn't work for me. But you know, anyway, I mean, Fuji takes great pictures, and if you like ergonomics, go for it. But I think the S10, I don't think it had the video features I needed, though. It has the same thing as the X-T30. Like I said, any other camera I buy, I have to seriously consider the video feature because of my paid work. For photography, really any of these cameras will do. You know, I just prefer the Olympus ergonomics. Oh, you go by Jay. Okay, Jay. John. Jay. I'm gonna call you John because that's what I see mostly. But okay, that was you. The IRS insists on calling me John. Oh, I know. I filed online all my extensions yesterday because I did an extension. I did them all yesterday. Somebody stole my identity and filed my taxes for me, so I had to do those manually on paper and send them in with proof of who I am and all. Yeah, you know, life, people got to stop. You know, these hackers, like I said, these hackers need to take a year off so we can just get something done. If the hackers stopped for 1 year, the economy will probably double or triple in 1 year. If the hackers would just quit for 1 year, just take a vacation. All the money you ripped off from us, take a vacation for God's sake and let us get some work done. Oh, you don't know how much time I wasted with this frickin' identity theft thing. It's oh, it's such a waste of time. I'm still dealing with it. I spent well, not half the morning, but I spent about an hour this morning changing passwords on all these sites because of this, you know. And I didn't even get through them all. I can't believe how many freaking sites I signed up to, how many passwords I have, and how. Let me not rant. You know, this is the happy place, right? But yeah, hackers, just take a break off. Take a break, for God's sake, you know. I don't know. I don't know. I have a hard time selling things. I'm this close to selling my Nikon. This close, but the Fuji, I think I'll keep it. I just need to take it out and shoot with it, you know? This thing. It's really a nice camera. I bought the little bling here, this red button, and I got this awesome grip with the Arca Swiss plate on the bottom. So it actually handles very nicely now, right? Except for the F and Q button here. I like the Q button, but I'm always pushing it by mistake, right? But this has, what, this is the shutter mode dial. This is the shutter speed dial. This is the exposure comp. And then it's got these two tiny front and rear dials. I mean, the ergonomics are okay. I just prefer the Olympus one but more. And this is the 18 to 55 f2.8 lens. 2.8 to something, whatever. 2.8 to f4. I mean, this is a fine camera. Takes this battery in here. Oh, I even got battery. Do I got memory? No, no memory card. But the lack of IBIS, it's a problem. The lens stabilization's okay for photos, kind of, but it's still not as good as IBIS. So even though I get better low light performance, I have to use a faster shutter speed. I mean a slower shutter speed or higher ISO anyway. So it kind of negates a little bit. Darko's asking, I want to buy an EM5 Mark II used. What should I pay for it? $400 or less, body only. I would say $350 would be an excellent deal for one in excellent condition. You could pay up to $400 and you're still getting a great deal, but $350 I think would be the sweet spot for that camera. But definitely don't pay more than $400. I got my EM5 Mark II with the 14-150 brand new for $699, just to give you some perspective. And I see them on sale all the time for $799, brand new with the kit lens. So without the kit lens, because the kit lens is worth about $300, that brings it back down to about $400 for the body only, right? So I would make sure you pay about $350 to $400, and it's an excellent camera. They're a little harder to find at that price. People are still kind of asking too much sometimes. I see them for $550 a lot in that price range, but if you really shop hard for a little while, I'd say by the end of the month you'll be able to find one for $350, $400. Yeah, the Nikon grip is great. Yeah, just like the EM1 Mark IIIs, the EM1 Mark IIs. You know, the Olympus EM1 grips are excellent. And I would say for the size, better than Nikon. But because Nikon's a bigger camera, the grip is just naturally beefier and easier to hold. But I would be surprised, you know, I've had smaller Nikons like a D40, D80 Nikon, and those are the grips on those are nowhere near as good as the M1s. The Q button was the bane of the X100T. That's why he sold it. Plus exposure comp button felt stiff too. Yeah, the exposure comp button is a little stiff, but it's stiff on the Pen F too, to be honest. Any news on an EPL1? No. Or Pen F2? No. Your EPL7 is starting to fall apart. They have an excellent deal right now on the Pen PL9 with the kit lens, $399, brand new. So if you like the PL series, the Pen PLs, right now the October deal is Pen EPL9 with a kit lens for $399. That's a killer deal. You'll be able to find that anywhere they sell Olympus. Any authorized Olympus dealer will have it. But if you're going to upgrade, if you can hang on, I don't know. Right now is a really good time to buy Olympus. The October deals are pretty solid. Ooh, yeah, that is hot, Randy. 98 degrees, 101 degrees in the desert. That would be a little hot. You might want to wait. And then Nature says the Olympus video software I heard about enables output raw video on Atomos Ninja. Oh, yeah, that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I did hear about that. That's not going to work for me really, because I can't. On a gimbal, it just I just don't want to use an external recording device when I'm on site for the jobs that I do. It'd just be a little bit too much gear. I like to travel light as I can. So rather than buying a Ninja 5 or Ninja V, whatever that thing is, for 600, then you got to buy a hard drive, and then a rig and you know what I mean? You're in it for like $1,000 anyway. And then it's all bulky, right? You got things sticking out everywhere, cables everywhere, extra batteries you got to charge. I'd rather just have like a GH5S on a gimbal by itself and get the same thing. I mean, it makes sense for people that do movies and small cinema things. But for me, in my workflow, yeah, that's not going to work for me. You want to have 5-axis stabilization. The only other really good deal is the EM5 Mark III with a 12 to 45 is $12.99. That's a pretty smoking deal. I mean, it's not as good as the EPL9 deal, but I think that's a really good deal. Because if a Pen F2 comes out, this is my prediction. If a Pen F2 comes out, it's going to be $14.99. It's going to be the M5 Mark III. Everything about the M5 Mark III is going to be on the Pen F2, but it's going to be $14.99. That's my prediction. I mean, I'm going to buy it because I have to think about that. Because the Pen F1 is so good. What I'm looking for in the Pen F2 is not like all the fancy pants stuff that you get like in the M5 Mark III. The image stabilization and it only has a couple of things that the Pen F does not have now. Because Pen F now has high-res shot mode. But I really want some more granularity in the fine tuning, like the color wheel we have. We can adjust saturation, but I want to be able to adjust hue and luminance as well with a color wheel in a Pen F2. If it does that by itself would be enough for me to get it. And then, some more interesting black and white profiles. Because that's what that camera's for, right? It's for artsy fartsy stuff. So, or street shooting, whatever. I'm looking more for the software side type features that, they could probably do. And then add a mic jack. And a mic jack, if the Pen F had a mic jack in it, I may not have ever bought any of these other cameras from Olympus. But since it didn't have a mic jack, I had to get a camera with a mic jack. So I ended up with another Olympus, then another, I have a problem, but anyway. I don't think, man, if they release a Pen F2 for $9.99, I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt it. The Pen F, I mean, right now a used pen F is like $750. You know, a used one, brand new, they're still $1,000. And it's 4 years old, you know. I mean, a brand new pen F2, they're gonna charge $14.99. It may not sell to the masses, but they only need to make enough to sell to people like me, right? So their overhead, ultimately, their inventory will be low. It's going to be a low production model, high profit margin, right? So they can sell, you know, 1/10 as many as they do any other camera and still make a profit on it because it's a low production, limited edition type thing, right? No video. That's why I purchased my Nikon D700. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Bob. I need to get ready for my next stream. Um, yeah, if I did photography only, yeah, I wouldn't care about mic jack, articulating screen, all that stuff, you know. But being a YouTuber and shooting professionally with video now, more recently, still not that good at it, but getting better. I'm really happy with some of the videos I made lately. Oh, hey Luke, how are you? I have to go actually. Excuse me. Yeah, I have to run. My next stream is starting in a few minutes, and it's a lot of pictures today that I have to download. So my next stream is starting in a few minutes. Is photo editing. So if you guys are new to my streaming here, then you might not be familiar with that one either, where you can submit your pictures and I edit them live, you know, in a live stream. And it's just fun, you know. I don't criticize anyone's work, other than just for fun, right? Just in jest, so to speak. But if I ever use the graphics, yeah, I use them all the time. I bought this one here. Can you see that? Yeah. This is a Hu Ion or HU Ion tablet. I forget which model it is. Comes with a little pen. It's awesome. Yeah, I use it. I don't use it for editing my photos. I use it for doing my tutorials and things. And I use it as a third monitor like I am now. This is a great, I should do a review on this, right, on my channel. This is a great little device. So, all right, so I have to go. Thanks everybody for joining me today. It's always great hanging out and talking about photography. It's it's the highlight of my day, honestly. So thanks for joining me today. I'll be back on Sunday. But I'm going to start my next stream for photo editing, so come join me there if you like. But either way, hopefully we'll see you again soon. That button's supposed to work. Here it is.